Things have changed massively, haven't they? Things are changing. The world has changed. Business is changing. Marketing is changing. LinkedIn and how people are using LinkedIn has changed and is changing dramatically. I want to share with you how a client of mine generated £59,036.56 from her use of LinkedIn. Yes, she was an accountant at one point. That's why it's a great specific number. But also I want to share how another client within the first month of us working together on his LinkedIn strategy generated business that would be worth over £18,000 per year, and how one property investor found within just a couple of months a cash investor way over and above any of his expectations that's radically changed his business life and investing. I've said things have changed. What's happened in the last few months is, as you know, I'm sure, more and more people have been forced online. And the great thing is more and more people are active on LinkedIn. I think people have always been on LinkedIn. They've always had profiles. There are now over 28 million profiles in the UK and over 600 million in the world. But what I've seen in the last few months is a massive spike of usage, which is great. People are forced online. They're on LinkedIn. Your ideal prospect, your ideal customer, your ideal contact is there and more active on LinkedIn. The flip side of that and the challenge of that is that things have got noisier. People are being bombarded with connection invites, bombarded with messages and sales messages. I've always had people say to me, oh, LinkedIn, people are on there trying to sell to me. And they are, and they're doing it wrong. My brother is a corporate lawyer, and he said, I've noticed you're right. I'm being bombarded with connection invites, bombarded with messages. We did a test. We changed a profile to read CEO. And we got bombarded with invites and bombarded with sales messages because lots of people out there are trying to sell to CEOs. So it has got a lot noisier, which means we have to communicate in a different way. We've got to stand out from the noise. We've got to grab attention because people are not seeing your messages. They're not reading them. It's not grabbing their attention because it's busy. And I think the day of just the written text message is going. It's not getting the response that it was. We've got to add value and we've got to provide content and we've got to be different. The great thing with LinkedIn is there's so many things you can do. To my mantra is to find, connect in the right way and engage in the right way with your ideal client and your ideal prospect. First thing you want to do is grow connections. New connections, new prospects. It's a given in any marketing, really, isn't it? I did a Google search a while ago and it said the average CEO has about 1,000 connections. And if you think about that, if each of those connections have about 1,000, you've got what's called a million second tier connections. Those are connections of your connections. Those are people we can easily get to in searches, and we can engage in a better way because we can say, hey, hoped we could connect, especially as we share some great mutual connections, which is a given if we're targeting second tier. And you've also heard the saying that your network equals your net worth. It's not just what we know, but who we know. The bigger your network, the bigger your database, the more we can communicate and market to those. So one of the things is to be perpetually building connections. But then when you connect with people, what do you do? LinkedIn is awesome in that there is so many ways to connect and engage. But the challenge is, how do you manage that on your own? How do you manage that consistently, day in, day out, as part of your marketing strategy? What do you do once you've connected? You've then got to engage with your ideal contact and prospect. And I would be sending, what we do is send out a welcome message. And then I want to send out a couple of follow-up messages if they haven't responded, especially as we've just said, it's busier and people may not be seeing them, may not be reading them. Here's a great example of a few clients. Christian, I've been working with for a long time. And right at the beginning of delivery, he says 2 days in, he says, don't I know that you've already started delivery? I can't keep up with the new connections or messages I need to respond to. Lots of new conversations on the go. I was connecting with his ideal prospect. We were sending a welcome message, sending follow-up messages. It freed him up just to respond to inbound. And flippantly, I messaged him back when I saw this and said, so do you want me to stop doing what I'm doing? And he said, no way, that's what I'm paying it for. Hi, Andy, the acceptances are coming in thick and fast. Morning, Andy. Hope all is well. I came to my computer this morning to find a wealth of activity on my LinkedIn account. Thank you. A couple of people have got back to me thanking me for the offer to connect first day of delivery. So it is instant once you start connecting. There are protocols around volumes as to what we can do, but this can, regardless, this happens really quickly. But then I said we've got to engage. Once you've connected, what are we then doing to message those people to work? And the importance now is to send a nice welcome message. And for me, it's about sending content, not jumping straight into the sale. I've just been compiling a list of LinkedIn messages that I've received that you shouldn't be sending. And they're just absolute awful sales messages that aren't engaging, aren't structured. They're terrible to use as examples of what not to use. How do we then engage with those people? And this was just awesome. It was a record. Never had anything before as fast as this. My client sent me this in. He said that 13:57, the first connection invite went out. Less than an hour or so, just over an hour or so later, the first person accepted his invite to connect. Great. And then a couple of hours later, he messaged me to say, I've had my first let's chat message. And this was what he wrote to me. So before I mess things up, if I answer him back, is it down to me to keep in contact? And will he automatically come off your system? Yes. What we're doing is we're, as I've said, connecting, then messaging, then following up. The moment someone responds inbound, you want to take over and put them into your sales process. My focus with LinkedIn is to get the conversation offline as quick as possible. Most people will have a sales process where you want to speak to someone or meet with them, whether you can or can't right now, or you might be pointing them to websites or somewhere, but you want to be getting them offline or off LinkedIn as soon as possible. So you are dealing with inbound, well-qualified, well-targeted inbound responses into your LinkedIn inbox. And this was a client looking for investment into land deals, so he was approaching business owners. So it was massive for him. And so it's about how do you then engage? I've said there's lots of other ways that you can utilize LinkedIn to get those connections and get that engagement. The moment you're more active, and yes, we've got to probably get your profile pimped up or smart to begin with, the more people will view your profile. And that is one of the most underutilized strategies on LinkedIn, I think, is that we want to connect with who's viewed your profile. But we send a slightly different connection message. Hey, I noticed you viewed your profile, my profile. What interested you to do so? How might I be able to help? I had someone, again, just this week, in the last week, working week, I've written some business where they responded to that. They viewed my profile and responded. I've done that over the years, and I've had clients do that over the years. So we want to be connecting with everyone who views your profile. Think about it. Some people, some of them at some level, will have viewed your profile for a valid reason. You will get inbound connection invites. We've said people are getting bombarded now. Great, accept them, because the more connections I have, the more second tier I have, remember? So we want to accept inbound invites and then send them the same messages. Send them a welcome message. It's great to be connected. Here's what I do. And then let's send them a sequence of follow-up messages. And then we want to be messaging out existing connections. Again, one of the biggest things that people just can't do. If you're just at the average 1,000 connections, like your average CEO, there's people now with more and more connections. If you've got less than that, we'll grow them very quickly. But if you're above that, you've got, even if you've got the 1,000, I say to people, so what do you do to engage with those? Well, nothing really. I haven't really got time. We can search those first tier connections for your ideal prospect, your ideal contact, and then we can be messaging them each day. I've just been recorded a webinar for a global summit for a lady in Australia that's running right now, and I've got messages going out to 100 of my connections saying, hey, here's a free ticket for it, and I'm getting inbound every day saying, great, thank you. I'm on there and I'm getting great value from it. So I can now be communicating and engaging with my contacts precisely, consistently, week in, week out, month in, month out. You should be communicating with your database, your prospects every few weeks, shouldn't you? Otherwise someone else will be, and they'll be going somewhere else. Also, LinkedIn's great at telling you who's changed job, who's had a birthday, who's had a work anniversary. That again, I've written business from saying congratulations on the new role. I'm sure you're busy settling in, but if ever, as and when you're interested in talking about A, B, and C, happy to. Had an inbound again recently saying, perfect, it's on the top of my to-do list. Can we book a time to speak in 2 weeks? So there's so many ways we can be engaging with your contacts and your growing number of contacts. But then I can do that for you. But then what we've got to do is convert business. It's all right saying, well, I'm building contacts. I'm not sure how much of a KPI that is. It's a start. And then we can be saying, well, yeah, I'm getting conversations. I do say it's down to you to convert, but I've got to help you with that. So this is a long-standing friend, client of mine, Kevin. We have regular strategy calls about what response are we getting, what's happening with the messages, can we utilize video, can we utilize articles and value content that we can give to our clients. And this was in the first month of working with him. Andy's Done For You service started generating results immediately. We know that. I've now been building new connections and messaging existing connections every day, as well as a number of other activities that I've never had time to do, or never at the volume that he could do. I generated some ideal sales meetings within the first couple of weeks. Perfect, my job done. But then how good are you at selling? Then I signed my first piece of work worth 500 quid. That's great, but it's one-off piece of work. In my mind, I want to help you sell, not just generate leads. I've just signed a new coaching client within the first month, giving me a massive ROI and worth 18,000 per year. It's great to have consistent daily inbound conversations for the first time ever via LinkedIn. And what we've just done is changed the strategy as to what we're offering when we're talking to people within the last few days, and he's getting more conversations on a different level, on a different context now, which is just perpetual and ongoing. And this client, Andy's Done For You LinkedIn service, is one of the most powerful lead gen strategies I've ever used in my business. Andy took care of connecting daily with my ideal investor. This guy's looking for business owners who might have cash to invest. I always find this is not as directly tangible as if you're looking for a purchasing manager of a widget company in Birmingham, because you know they're likely to be buying your product. When I was selling safety footwear, well, he's looking for business owners who might have cash to invest. So we've got to go to lots of them to find the ones who say, yes, I might be interested, or yes, I'm interested. I grew my connections by 200 every month. Number of views to my profile increased greatly, and I was messaging my existing connections consistently for the first time. During a short period of time, I had engaged with a contact of mine. This was someone he was already connected with. He said, I would never have thought to message him. I've got a fair number of connections, a lot of connections. This contact of mine will invest with me at a level that will completely change my business. I recommend Andy's Done For You service if you're looking to utilize LinkedIn as a consistent marketing strategy within your business, because you can't do it without a process. And the challenge is LinkedIn is so powerful, so beautiful, but you can't consistently engage with all of the activities that you could. And now we can. And then finally, this was actually a lady I met years ago because she viewed my profile. She was running a different business back then. And I sold to her. We got the contact to sold. And then we became friends, and I coached her in her business. And then I coached her in LinkedIn, and she said, I invoiced £59,036.56. She's better at measuring her business than me. I'm not sure I can measure that precise amount with a client. Maybe I could. Yes, of course I could. In client revenue, as a result of one thing Andy told me about LinkedIn that we implemented, it wasn't salesy, it was about a strategy and not just hoping clients will jump out at you. The thing now is we've got to engage in the right way. And the biggest challenge for people is writing marketing prose and understanding how to communicate with people. If I hear, I don't want to be salesy, I don't want to be pushy, one more time, if I go a day without hearing it, it'll be great, because it isn't. It's about find, connect, and engage in the right way. And this is people's challenge and people's weakness. I went in and trained a sales team of people. And the first thing I said is, what do you want out of LinkedIn? And they said, we're connecting with people. We want to know what to say next. And I said, you are kidding me. What would you normally say if you picked up the phone and walked through the door? So A, they were getting hung up on over LinkedIn. Secondly, most people just don't know how to respond and engage. I've got a whole bunch of templated replies and responses for once you start generating inbound. If you do or don't get LinkedIn, in either way, I'd recommend I need to help you 10 times your efforts. Depends what your efforts are. There are so many ways to use LinkedIn to put money in the bank, realize the potential. Absolutely. I want to say to you, if you've got marketing systems in place in your business, and one of the testimonies there from Christian, I remember the sales call so well because he's contacted me and said, I want to speak with you. He said, look, I have all the other marketing in place in my business. I have a website. We're paying someone for SEO. I'm paying for someone to do social media. We have newsletters. We have lots of strategies and social media in our business. The one thing that's missing, the one gap, is LinkedIn. Can you help me and can you do it for me? And you've seen the results, and that's how we've been working together for a while. You've got to take more action. You've got to take massive action in that and it's got to be consistent. And I've had people come to me saying, now I need to start marketing because of the way things are right now. And I say, you should have been doing it before, but also this is about long term. This is about putting it in place in your business consistently. And part of it is working together and having a commitment to at least every few weeks, certainly with each month. And probably now with my current Done For You clients, it's a bit more regularly because things are changing. We're seeing a different rate of connections because, like I said, we're seeing a different response. We've got to look at building up collateral, building up content. If you've got content such as articles, PDFs, video, information for your clients, that's great. If you haven't, we might need to work on gaining some. I got a client who said we need 3 or 4 bits of content of value that we can be giving people in the sequences, and then we can be sort of changing and varying the message so that it does that thing, it stands out, it gets noticed, it gives value, and it gets inbound response. So if you've got marketing in place in your business and you know you need to add this as part of it and get this congruent, great. If you're thinking of doing that, great, then give me a shout, respond to this saying, yes, I want to look at systemizing and getting consistent activity in my LinkedIn strategy and LinkedIn business. And then let's book a call. Let's have a chat around what you're doing, who you're looking to get to, what else you're doing, and how this can work best for you. And I look forward to helping you with the same sort of results.